Welcome to the Purposed Audacity podcast, where we aim to nurture, amplify voices, and inspire our community to stand boldly in their Christian identity. Join Brian and Charmian Marie weekly as they have riveting discussions surrounding healing, restoration, and purpose. This is Purposed Audacity, powered by Page Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Purposed Audacity. I am Charmian Marie.
And I'm Brian.
And it's great to have you here. Thanks again so much for the support that you've been giving thus far.
Love it.
Yeah, man, we really love it, and we love the fact that, you guys are feeling the material, isn't it? So, saying that to say, just preparing you from now, we have an interesting topic that we'll be discussing today. Well, clearly, you already see it down below, but like this one, even when we asked it on the page, it struck a nerve. And then we also feel very strongly about this topic as well. So let me just get right into it. Why are so many individuals leaving their church during the pandemic?
No, I firstly want to say that this is a multifaceted topic. Because there are just so many reasons. There are a few that are bigger than others, where there are a lot of reasons why we see this. But the main thing is that we are seeing a mass exodus. Right. We are seeing people literally just stop coming to church, stop being a part, possibly don't feel that they even belong in different churches. And that the range is of age is different, but we do see it mostly like with millennials, Gen Z, possibly. But we see it among the different age ranges and generations. But we definitely are seeing in this time an exodus from a lot of churches. I think even churches are possibly closing down through this pandemic time. So I took any other question, reasons. I think I have a few, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
Thanks.
Yes, man. Yes.
So, just gonna keep it real.
Not too real. I'm joking.
Truth here. You know what I mean? So I'll at least share it in love. Yeah. So, I believe that one of the number one reasons ends up being kind of twofold, right? One thing that we always hear, even prior to the pandemic, and it has worsened within the pandemic, is the fact that just a number of churches are not giving their members enough meat. And a lot of persons, funny enough, they're craving more and stuff, and they want to learn more about Jesus and whatever. But then it's almost like the church is saying, well, yeah, that's why you have your personal devotion time, which technically is true, But at the same time, there is also an intense responsibility of fellowship and growing together.
So it's almost like there's a lack of community, even though yes, I am supposed to.
No, it's not the lack of community. No, that's a whole lot of different point.
Well, yes.
But I'm talking about persons who want to grow deeper in God and stuff, and they're not receiving that, some of that more that ushers them into that more of God, like from the church. So they have to go seeking it elsewhere anyway. So why am I still a part of this fellowship? You get me? But on the flip side though, as I mentioned, there are some persons who say, well, hey, like as much as you come to church on a Sunday or whenever you worship, fine, whatever. A reality is that fellowship plays its role. But if you come there just for that more, quote unquote, then you'll never fully be satisfied. You'll always be hopping from one church to the other and stuff like that, right? So I believe that it's an interesting tug of war between those 2 points, because technically, we should not necessarily be dependent on your specific fellowship for that more. But at the same time, the fellowship plays a role in helping to usher us into the more, and helping to keep us accountable, and help to nurture our fire for God. You know, so for me, I think that's a number one thing. A lot of persons are not receiving a lot of that spiritual food that they want, and so they go other places. But the awkward thing is that there's so many other churches that are not feeding, so you end up being in a loop. So because that loop actually exists, you realize that honestly it ends up falling back on yourself. That responsibility ends up falling back on you, saying, alright, cool, is either you're going to keep on church hopping pretty much, which I mean we all have heard about, or you settle down and find a way to grow more in God in your quiet space.
So boy, that church hopping thing, it don't help, because it shows it shows a lack of stability even in oneself from time to time. That whole you having to hop up to every other church, when the reality is no church is really great, you know. But I do understand the fact and the desire and the want to be growing, and where you feel like, all right, this place I'm not
within
growing,
within
a community, and you're just not growing here. I think one of the things that the pandemic has done, especially for church and Christians, is show the heart of people.
Whoa.
Yeah, one of the things I believe is causing this exodus is the heart of people, and it's twofold. It's one where persons have possibly been dealing with a lot of stuff within their churches for a long time. Whether it be spiritual abuse, whether it be sexual abuse, or emotional abuse, or the lack of structure, lack of structure, frustration, not seeing a vision in them church, and they've possibly been dealing with that a lot, and possibly not seeing any change. And what the pandemic has done is it has
brought them more to the fore. Brought them more to the fore.
Not some, but more giving an excuse. I'm more talking about it giving an excuse. So because I'm not going to church physically, it is not a question of if it's because of anything else. Yeah. Wow. So the pandemic is giving us excuse to say, well, church not keep. We're not seeing each other physically. Or maybe it's limited to a certain amount of people who can be in church, so I can stay away, or I can jump online, but maybe not. And the time has caused us, and then because we're so separated, the time in itself has caused us to possibly just sit with God, with our feelings, with what we're going through, and just make that decision of, wow, I just need to leave here, I can't stay here. I'm just not getting any better because of what I'm going through. On the flip side, it's also still showing our hearts, because it's showing her like, I wasn't really interested in it at all. I didn't want to be here really that much. I used to normally participate, but now I have to show the dedication of like, oh, I'm not just I'm not just a member of the church, like a gym member. You know, a gym membership, you have it for how long, and it's taking that money out of your bank account, and you're not going there because for whatever reason, but you know, I'm still a gym member, versus somebody who is participating
and
active. You know, that's different. A lot of people have just been, I'm just a member, so whether I'm there or not, it's like, and therefore I've not been interested in being here or being a part of this or doing anything. So no, you're definitely not seeing me.
Yeah. You
know, even online, okay, so I'll go online, but you know, we go online and we turn it on and we turn it up. But I would say we're listening, but we're just doing 10 other things while we're listening.
Yeah.
And so it's really showing our hearts, like what's been there, issues that we've had to deal with when it comes down to church and church life, and how we've had to deal with it. And so that's a cause. That's a big cause. Like we just see in the heart of people now, whether it is by something on the church side that needs to fix, or even on just their side that needs to be fixed. It's twofold.
So another point that I would say, in addition to that, I would say that because so many of us have had to focus on online everything pretty much, it has actually widened the worlds of so many individuals. And so when you jump onto a service from maybe a church in the US or wherever else, Australia, I don't know, and you see the quality and the standard and the realness and all of that, like it opens your eyes, and then you come look back on your church that really not really
comparison.
And I mean it sounds bad because you don't want to compare like one fellowship to another, but at the same time you cannot hide, like when them said the heart wants what the heart wants, at the end of the day, if your spirit gravitates to that other church and what it's doing and how it's reaching you and all of these things, and you actually have the desire to feed your spirit, man, then you're gonna gravitate. You get me? And especially if your church is resisting going online, or even if they're online, them running it just like the same old service them, or you get what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like a lot more people have opened their eyes to what's out there and stuff, and they feel like they're able to make more informed decisions about what they're taking into their spirits, and also what they are pursuing more. And so because they're making these informed decisions, people are leaving, and honestly, it's kind of sad to see, because again, no church is perfect. Every church comes with its thing, and our reality is that if there's this massive brain drain, like what that term that we've learned so long ago, and like what I wonder if y'all just heard that thunder. But yeah, like what Jamaica is used to in terms of, studying out here and people migrate and all these things. If there's so much of a brain drain and people leaving to go to another church and whatever, who then stays to develop the current church? That's the whole, or the current fellowship, I should say. Like that's the whole other side of the coin now, because if everyone is leaving and stuff like that, then who actually fights for the progress and all of that?
Who fights for the change?
Exactly. Now granted though, in that same fight it can get very frustrating, because at the end of the day, just because the method and the channels and the vehicles have of transmitting the message have shifted, doesn't mean leadership has shifted. It doesn't mean some of the key players have shifted, and so you still have to be dealing with the dynamics of personalities and stuff, and people in various generations who might not necessarily want to be flowing that way. And being flexible within this pandemic time. So that honestly ends up being like a real turn off for a lot of people, because our reality is that it's not that you just get up one day and say, yo, you just want left, but there are certain things you can't deny anymore.
You see, as you raise that, just to attach on to that point, because the thing about that as well is that can just be, it's also the enemy's way of distracting people. I feel like in this time, a lot of distractions have come up. So therefore, people are more
Is it just the enemy though?
The enemy and the flesh.
Okay.
And flesh.
Right.
I mean, the enemy just putting the thing before us, and so therefore we're drawn to whatever we're drawn to, but the flesh is drawn to it, and so therefore we've given into a lot of distractions, unfortunately. And so we know, especially now where you don't have to be in church, or you can't be in church, nobody not necessarily pray if you're not there online. Nobody not necessarily like you know, you have a few that will reach out and say, hey, I haven't seen you in this and seen you in that. And I mean, there are so many great and nice excuses and are legit like reasons. There are legit reasons for people to like, oh yo, I'm not here, I'm not this, I can't be on, I can't jump on. And then there are excuses that people use a lot, but it's really just showing that yo, I'm just not focused right here. Right. My brain is not here. I'm trying to make sure that my family is okay, we are all surviving, stuff like that. Right. Another cause I believe, another reason I believe people are leaving leaving the church is because we're also seeing that there wasn't much community before. There wasn't much community before because...
Yes, that bomb just dropped right there.
Yeah, because what is it showing is that people, okay, so we're not able to meet, but when you talk to a lot of people, you know, you don't hear that they're still having at least fellowship. You don't hear people call. People only saw people when they went to church on Sunday. People only dealt with people when they went to church on Sunday or Saturday or
whenever,
depending on where you are, Wednesday. People only saw and dealt with people at that time.
On those specific days.
Outside of those days,
strangers.
And so now, when you're in a time when you're not seeing anybody physically, you're not hearing anybody because they never have your number in the first place. Maybe, you're not getting, the conversations they used to have at least a little bit after church because you have to go home. With that, you're realizing, well, it doesn't seem there was much of a community anyways. And that lack of community is
it's a turn off.
It's a big turn off because we're in a time when people want and fully desire community. They fully desire to be supported and they want to support people and be in a place where they're somebody's walking through life with them. Right. So people are walking through life with them and they can know that they're there. They don't always have to be physically there, but they know that I can at least depend on this person. I can depend on this person for a text, for a call, just to check on me, and I do the same for them. There is that lack of community and lack of heart that's being shown right now. So
it's scary. It's
a very scary thing. And I mean we have some comments. And if you have any comments that you can possibly show or talk about, drop below in the
in the comment section. Yeah.